What's crackin', ladies and gents? Nerfcore here, and welcome to Hero Spotlight version 2. Indira, aka Electric Arc. A fan favorite that seems to have endless arcs as you watch your heroes get dwindled down to death, never getting a turn, and also same goes for your opponent. It's a Hero Spotlight I myself have wanted to do for a very long time. But first, let's take a look at her skills. Plasma Field, Indira's main skill damage. Her main skill damage that hits all enemies and applying Arc Mark to 3 random enemies for 2 turns. When Indira attacks, she does 120% of attack damage to enemies affected by Arc Marks and 2 of their allies.
Plasma Field!
Lightning Antenna deals damage to 3 random enemies at the start of each turn. Thunder Arc. Lightning Antenna has a 50% chance to apply an arc mark for each enemy hit. Her 9 of 9 relic guarantees it is applied on at least one target. Power Filling. Indira gains 10 points of energy whenever an arc is released. Let's talk about Indira's arcs so we understand how they work. First, arc marks will need to be applied to enemies. How are they applied? By getting 9 of 9 relics. Lightning Antenna will give a 100% chance to inflict an arc mark on the first target it hits. Lightning Antenna also has a 50% chance of creating arc marks. 60% if you have Star Tech skill unlocked. Lightning Antenna can then have a maximum of 3 arc marks applied if the 60% chance does not fail. Another way to apply arc marks is her skill attack, Plasma Field, which applies arc marks to 3 random enemies. Those are the methods of applying arc marks. To trigger arc marks, Indira has a passive attack that is released when Indira or her allies attack, which is a 50% chance with level 30 exclusive equipment. Queen of Desert is the only character that cannot trigger this. Passive attacks are unable to trigger arc marks. Let's do a video analysis. I've got 3 videos of Indira's openers in the first round. First is a successful opener with 3 marks applied. Let's take a look at the video analysis and discuss this afterwards. What you saw was a successful opener, which would be 7 attacks in total, including the last arc being triggered by Thinker's basic attack. If you had a full team, there is a potential to do even more arc attacks. Arc attacks are further increased if your allies use Samurai Stigmata. On top of this is if your allies proc their Rush Offense talent, resulting in many multiple arc attacks just in round 1. I did not include Plasma Field being cast in the first round, which is technically the most perfect opener that you can get. I kept that out because it raises questions that need to be discussed further. The next video showcases Indira having applied 2 marks, which I won't discuss after the video. This is really just to showcase the 3 different instances of her openers. The last video showcases a failed opener, and I will include Plasma Field as this opens up the discussion to everyone, as I am not 100% certain on my conclusions, but I provide my evidence, just like I did for my Godslayer Hero Spotlight. Let's first watch it and then discuss afterwards.
Plasma field.
Double kill. Triple kill. Rockfall.
After watching the video, my premise is that every time Indira attacks, she has a 50% chance to trigger her own arc marks. In the first round, she completely failed to trigger her arc marks. In the second round, as you've seen, she only arc attacks 4 times, meaning she failed the last arc attack's 50% roll. Plasma Field confirms the count because Plasma Field guarantees all arc marks are triggered for a total of 8 marks. Next video showcases Plasma Field triggering all arc marks applied if there are any doubts, with full counts and no doubt to failure of application of arc marks. I've tested it multiple times and have come to the same conclusion in many videos that I've recorded. This opens up the discussion, waiting to hear what you guys think.
Plasma field.
Solitary charge!
That is my evidence for my premise. So in conclusion, Indira's basic attack has a 50% chance to trigger an arc attack. That arc attack has a 50% chance to trigger the next arc mark, and so forth if those arc marks were applied. Only Indira can do it. Plasma Field confirms the counts. Also, this confirms that each bolt on Lightning Antenna has a chance to apply arc marks. Alright, so for Indira's talents. So the first talent, the default for this section is Precise Strikes, just due to the fact that it increases damage to 3 enemy types instead of the 2 that Shadow Ambush has. Only time I use Shadow Ambush is when Galaxy is the enemy in Void Championships, or there are more mages in the enemy team, or of course if the boss is a mage type boss. I use Super Shield in Mystic Realm to be a bit more defensive, but that was really the only time I've used it. For the second talent, without a doubt, Deadly Blow, because it affects her arcs, and it is a big increase in damage compared to Titan Killer. Only time I use Titan Killer is if you are in boss fights, high levels of X-War and Galaxy Wanted. Weakness Found is normally better for PvP, especially if you are going against someone who is higher level than you. So for example, right now my heroes are level 350, and if I go against someone that's over level 400 plus, so this would be beneficial because, as you know, armor goes up the more levels you have, so this talent really helps out. For the third talent, the default is Ghost Curse. I don't see her using anything else here. As for the last talent, Death Gaze is great to use in Quantum Invasion, Void Championships, against Galaxy where rounds tend to last longer. Also use this talent in Mystic Realm, which gave my Indira more DPS to push her to finish level 49 as a lower level. Sometimes I would just pick this talent just to squeeze out more DPS. Can use this to coincide with Original Time or Orb of Turbidness artifacts if you end up using them. However, the default here is Rush Offense. Indira is best when she does her skill attack Plasma Field, so that she can apply her arc marks as soon as possible, as well as giving her more speeds, which she needs. It is best she attacks first, so those two are my picks for her for the last talent. Stigmatas for Indira. I don't have the best Stigmatas for Indira on both my free-to-play and main account, but I've gone the triple-double setup, which is the default free-to-play option. So that is 2 Judgments, 2 Sins, and 2 Zealots. I find this gives her a good balance of stats. Now that we've got the event Galaxy Temple, where we can get the 6-star Stigs as a free-to-play player, the best option for Indira is Vital and Striker, which I don't have on my free-to-play account. If you're using Vital, you can use Overprotection talent to give her a bit more survivability. Striker has the potential for more damage, as she is one hero that has high attack power, and generally Striker is good for that. Mages are normally squishy, so going defensive as Indira has pushed me very far into progression, and also in PvP. Being able to take down opponents that are significantly higher level. I'm theory crafting here, but I would really like to test out Phantom or Mirage Stigs on her, especially in high level PvP, but of course I don't have that luxury. So for now, that is a theory, and this likely only applies to a person that is free to play or low spender to counter the higher speed and damage of the whales you will always be up against. Note that Vital, Striker, or Thorn are one of the Stigs that cannot get speed secondary stats on slots 1 and 2, which is this one, slots 1 and 2. So you would best have the Sin Stigmatas there with speed stats, and that's generally what you would go for. So for slot 1 and 2, it's either speed or attack percent. For slot 3 and 4, crit or crit damage, depending on how high your crit already is. For slot 5 and 6, you'd really want broken armor, but if you like to go a bit more defensive, it's either damage immune or effect resist, which are good choices as well. For Indira's equipment, let's talk about the stats to make her a beast. As for most DPS, the stat priority normally goes broken armor, crit damage, then the rest. But I would put speed just as high a priority alongside broken armor and crit for Indira. Personally, I like giving her a good balance of stats, so what we're looking at is a minimum of around 80 broken armor. That is your minimum, and your max preferred would be 100. Crit as high as you can get, 100% would be preferred, of course. Crit damage as high as you can possibly get without sacrificing broken armor and crit. Then as high a speed as you can get on her. Let's take a look at my gear on my free-to-play account. So this is her sword. I basically have to make do with what I get, so my free-to-play account does not have the best stats on her gear. I'd like to get rid of that HP stat, so this one's okay. It's got 2 speeds there. The armor, I'd like to get rid of that skill damage stat. I like this helm. It's all crit. It's consistent. And for her boots, I'd like to get rid of that damage immune stat. So when choosing your tier 2 stats, balance it around you getting what stats you are lacking. Otherwise, you can't go wrong with crit or broken armor like I have done. As for Indira's exclusive equipment, your main goal is to get this to plus 30 to get the bonus chance of triggering arc when allies attack, which is increased to 20%, and this gives it a total of 50% chance, which is huge. For Indira's artifacts, she can practically use them all. However, let's get real here. You are free to play or a light spender, and likely you will not be getting the prelude of evil artifacts. And you will eventually have a host of heroes that have some of these as their best in slot for a free-to-play player or a light spender. Example is Eden Space. This is basically reserved for Godslayer or Toko. Eternal Soul on Laura. Original Time on a hero that you don't have plus 30 equipment like Lucas, or a low awakened time as examples. So now you are left with Meteorite Dust, Wings of Angel, or a Ring of Oracle. I've found that giving Indira Divine Prayer has been a positive for me in terms of progression in PvE, as I have showcased my very low levels being able to get very far into X-War, Galaxy Wanted, and as well as being able to take on players higher level than me in PvP. Indira is very squishy in PvP, so giving Indira a Divine Prayer also works. If you are pay to win, let's get real here as well. She can use many of the pay to win DPS artifacts, but it is best used on other characters unless you really want to main her. So as an example, Scythe of Hunt she can use, however, it's basically best in slot for other characters like Godslayer or Darkness, as well as Orb of Turbidness, Godslayer or Darkness, which I would prefer it on them than Indira, so that goes out the window. For example, Pit Spear or Tyrant's Hammer, the latter being Julia's best in slot, which is the Tyrant's Hammer. So you really do not have many choices but to just give Indira Meteorite Dust, Wings of Angel, or Ring of Oracle as an example. As for Indira's gems, I find that there really is no best in slot here. You give her what you lack in stats. Same goes for other characters. As a general gist, you can't go wrong with Alexandrite, Malachite, Cat's Eye, and White Onyx. If, let's say, you give her a Ring of Oracle, which then boosts her broken armor far too much, you can switch it out for a Bloodstone, which gives her more crit damage, or a Amethyst, gives her more crit. I understand that not everyone can get these gems like this one, the Malachites and that. So as a person that does not have those gems, you can use the Amethyst, Bloodstone, and Cat's Eye. As for Indira's skill selection, gem skill selection, the third one, Tranquility, is the best for her. For the second one, if you ever obtain 5-star gems in all slots, you can either get Spell Ignition for a DPS increase, Mana Shield for a more defensive Indira, and if you ever get a 6-star gem in every slot, then you can either go Spell Shield or Spell Counter. With Indira's Relics, it is best you try to get 9 of 9 relics as soon as possible. She is such a great PvE character that any boost to her damage and any way to give her more arc marks is a must. For Indira's Union Tech, as usual, I put 5 points into every node first, and then focus on all the attack nodes, and then the HP nodes, and then last of all the faction bonus nodes. Indira's Star Tech skill has a 10% chance for lightning antenna to create an arc, which actually takes it to 60%, so that's actually an arc mark, not just a normal arc. If you plan to main Indira in the beginning, of course you will try to get the minimum to unlock the subsequent nodes. So you should be focusing on crit damage, attack, skill damage in that order. Then in the Union Institute, put as many points as you can on all the damage nodes, since Indira is a area of effect character. I've gone for a balance, so I normally stop at 20, then I start beefing up my Toko or Laura in a similar fashion, and then I'll start returning back to Indira to finish these off, especially the attack node here. Indira is an amazing PvE character that can do enormous DPS in PvE teamfights, especially in reincarnation space when paired with time. In PvE teamfights, you can place her in a boost team like in the video currently playing. I personally treat her like she was a Queen of Desert, often putting her in control teams to push progression in PvE, as it gives her more rounds to do her damage like a Queen of Desert. I also often give her survivability artifacts just due to the fact that Indira is a squishy character and also slower in speed. Given the above, in PvP she can be quite slow and is prone to getting one-shot by other heroes. Only way to counter that is to give her more speed, pair her with time, give her defensive artifacts or Stigs, and putting her in control teams with Ivy, Medusa, Anna, or Zeus. All in all, Indira is still one of my favorite heroes and will likely be one of my main DPS that I will continue to work on throughout my playthrough of the game. Anyways, thanks for watching Hero Spotlight version 2, Indira, in my current favorite game, X-Hero.
War mode.
Saving fire!
Double kill.
Swift shadow.
Into the wild.
Paralysis lightning. Mind whip.
Into the wild.
Double kill.
To the wild. Into the wild.
Plasma field.
Hidden fortress.
Rolling in the wind.
Attacking, there's no going back. Hearing voices.
Double kill.
Welcome to the wonderland of music.
My name. Got them path laid out in front of
Double
me.
kill.
Sharp knives,
Triple kill.
no time to
Quadra
think.
kill.
I'm a huntress. I don't know who I am. Hear the shadows follow me over the hills in the evergreen. Trade my soul for a chance to carry on into the wild.
Title has been removed.
Paralysis lightning.
Into the wild.
Angry Ape.
Into the wild.
Perfect storm. Paralysis lightning.
Double kill. Triple kill. Quadra kill. Pentakill.
Trade myself for a chance to